Tam! Just as I was saying in my very best sound effect, Blastaar says, "You young bumbler," talking to the torch. Knowing what to expect and being able to do anything about it are two different things. But look, what is this? Blastaar asks. You increase your flame so that you absorb my explosive blast. And look, Crystal thinks Johnny is glowing like a living star. The sight is dazzling, blinding. Johnny, be careful. Don't tamper with forces which no man may control. But Johnny is just doing whatever it takes to stop Blastaar. Okay, Blastaar, now it's my turn. I've taken the best you could toss at me, and I've converted it to raw heat. And now you can have it back again, in spades. And look, he tosses his flame at Blastaar until he's absorbed in fire. A clever maneuver, Torch, says Blastaar, except for one small fact. You do not realize that my own body, tempered by the extreme weather conditions of subspace, can adjust to any extreme heat or cold instantaneously. Well, of course we didn't realize that. How bizarro is that? And now we'll put an end to this futile, primitive display. His entire body is hurling back my own charge at me. He's too powerful. I've got to put more distance between us till I can dream up another form of attack. What form of attack can it be? Look, Blastaar is simply exploding in all directions. Meanwhile, at the waterfront, the Sandman has finally reached his deadly destination. Everything went exactly as I planned. Even the thing's own strength couldn't stop him from losing consciousness due to the whirling I subjected him to. And so now, Sandman is going to unroll right here at the harbor. And so it's farewell at last. Farewell forever to my once greatest enemy. Plop. The thing goes into the water. But not only do Ben Grimm's massive limbs possess superhuman strength, but his lungs do as well. Therefore, though the comatose thing plunges heavily downward, the chilling effect of the water gradually begins to revive him. And then, slowly, silently, his blazing, rage-filled eyes start to open. And without a second's hesitation, he zooms upward again, towards the pier above. He must have drowned by now, says Sandman. Nobody could stay underwater that long and live. This is my most glorious moment. I, and I alone, have destroyed the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four. Ah, don't bet on it, you creep. Huh? What? What was that? Well, what do you think it was? It's the thing. Crash! It was the guy you just destroyed. What else? And now, Sandy, just hold that pose here. Ever see a picture that no sound effect could do justice to? Well, you're looking at one right now, true believer. As the thing punches the Sandman underwater, they don't give me any sound effects. All right, let's all think of a sound effect. Nuts. He's dissolved all his sand molecules and he's scattered them so I can't whump him again. And the tide's carrying him off in a zillion directions at once. Well, no sense complaining. It turned out okay anyhow. I figure it'll take months for the Sandman to bring himself together again. And that's true, all those sandy molecules scattered through the water. So that gets him off our backs for now. Okay, for now. I'm sure we'll see the Sandman again. At that moment, on the other side of town, Blastaar says, "More super powerful humans, but I'll finish you all off with a few mere blasts." So here comes the stretching Mr. Fantastic. Johnny says, "I knew you'd show up, Reed, but what is it you're trying to do? I gotta fit this helmet onto Blastaar's head somehow before he connects with one of those explosive bolts. Look, here's a helmet that Reed Richards has concocted." "Bah, that infernal body of his bends and stretches away from my blast, but the female shall not be so fortunate. What is this? I cannot strike her either." It worked, thinks Sue. I diverted his attention from Reed. Now if my invisible force field will just hold out. Okay, so he's blasting, but she's protected. "Heads up, gang. Here comes the torch. I'll soften up the ground beneath Blastaar's feet so he'll fall down and go boom." "Good work, Johnny. That was the very chance I needed. If I can just secure this helmet to his head, we'll have him. It contains a cut-off device to prevent the explosive pressure from building up within his body." But Sue cries out, "Reed, look out, his fingers." Batoom! That's my favorite sound effect. Batoom! And so he shoots off his fingers, and Reed is pushed back. I failed, says Reed. "Sue, Johnny, Crystal, never mind me. Save yourselves. I'll keep him busy while you make it to shelter." "Bite your tongue, brother-in-law. It's Blastaar who's going to need the shelter. Let's see how a firewall down there will grab you, Blasty." Ha! Once again, your overconfidence of youth has been your undoing, and Blastaar grabs the torch. "I have you now. Your flame cannot harm me. I am not some puny human who can be driven off by the power of fire. I am," say it with me, "Blastaar." And here comes Reed Richards. Thanks to Johnny, he thinks, I've got a second chance, and this time I'll make it. Whoop! There, by cutting off the pressure buildup in your body, you become as vulnerable as any man. "No, no," cries Blastaar. You can't. Oh, but he can. "Don't bet on it, big man. We puny humans have a habit of fighting back." Whoops. "Wowee," says Johnny. "Anyone who thinks a one-man brain trust like you has to be a powder puff should have seen that haymaker." "I'm almost sorry he's not getting up," says Reed. "I'm aching to give him more of the same." "Reed, darling, is it over? Is it really over at last?" "You bet it is, honey. Blastaar is helpless now." She says, "Forgive me for suddenly turning feminine." Well, nonsense, dearest. You did your share when it counted. Now, much as I want to study Blastaar, we've got to get him back to the negative zone, to his own world. And here comes the thing. He says, "What gives, Stretcho? Looks like I missed all the fun." "You're alone. What happened to Sandman? He's kaput for a while. I'd have been here sooner, but you never can find a cab when you need one." "Ben," says Reed, "we've got to take Blastaar back to the subspace lab." Rats, every time you say "we" that way, it ends up meaning me. I never should have let that blasted cab get away. Oh, my poor tired tootsies. As he carries Blastaar back to the lab to be sent off back into the negative zone. Next, the maddening mystery of the Sentry Sinister. Well, that's a story for another day. Well, we finally finished all of these stories about the Fantastic Four, Sandman, and Blastaar, and I hope you enjoyed them. We'll have another story soon. All right, love y'all. Bye for now.